Hey, hi, welcome to BPEC YouTube channel. So today let's learn about window functions in SQL. So we are pretty much familiar that window functions are very important. So now what is a window function? So now that's what we will be doing it now in a practical way. So window functions are very important whenever you're preparing for any interview. I think window functions are something very important. They focus and they try to ask questions on window functions. Let me just show you the available window functions. Let me just open the mind map and let me just demonstrate what are the various window functions. So here we go. Now if you look into this, these are all various window functions which are available. So in your SQL, so you are able to see this. These are all the various window functions which are available in your SQL. And whenever you are going and preparing for your SQL interviews, whether you are a data analyst, so whether you are trying to prepare for a data analyst role or whether you are trying to prepare for data science role sometimes, so or if you are preparing for SQL based interviews, they may start asking questions. Even if you are planning for Power BI developer role or Tableau developer role, people start asking questions on window functions. So these are various window functions where you have row number, rank, dense rank, entile, lead, so cumulative distribution, percent range. So there are like even some average, minimum, count. So we are able to take it as aggregate functions. So we cannot take count, some, average, minimum as window functions. But if you are able to start using this particular window functions with a particular thing called as over, if you are able to start using it with a particular one called as over, we are able to start using this sum, average, minimum as a window function. That's what we will be seeing. So this four things falls under a category of your aggregate functions. And whereas if you are able to start using over with respect to this aggregate functions is going to behave like a window function. So one simple line, what is the difference between a window function and an aggregate function? So whenever we are trying to perform aggregate functions, if there are 10 rows, so we are able to get, by applying sum, we are able to get only one value. So we are passing 10 rows inside sum, we are able to get only one particular value. So that's going to be our aggregate functions. Whereas window functions on another side, if you are able to give 10 rows and if you are able to apply sum of this particular 10, so with the help of over, so we will be using over. So by using it, we are able to get all the 10 output values. So for 10 number of rows, you are able to get 10 number of rows or as an output, or even sometimes n-1 or n-2 based on the type of operation you are trying to perform. Now, if you are able to take on the another side, aggregate functions, if you are able to give n number of rows as an input, you are able to get mostly one row as the output. But on the window function, if you are giving n number of rows as an input, you are able to get n number of rows or n-1 row as an output. So n-1 or n-2. Let's try to have a look over it. So in our MySQL workbench, so if there are anyone who are aware of MySQL workbench, this is our MySQL workbench which you are familiar with. Now in order to perform this activity, just you need to have a prerequisite of MySQL workbench. So that too, I'm using a community edition where you will be having both server plus the interface where you are able to start writing the code. Now this is the interface. I want to create a database. So you no need to worry about it. So whatever the example you are showcasing here in this video, we may miss the data. No. So just by executing this code, you are able to start performing the data as well. Now first I want to create a database. So in order to create a database in SQL, we know the command create database. So I want to give a name. So just I'm calling window DW. So now here we are doing this operation. So I'm just giving the name like a window DW. As my window function, let me just say control enter, and here let me just I created this particular database, and just I want to use this database. So window, so DB, I want to use this particular database. If you see, there are various databases. So BPEC batch, so D batch, so D batch 1. So like here there is no let's say window DB. Let me just refresh it. Now you are able to see window DB is there. So now you want to create a table. So where exactly you want to create that table? So like if you look into it, already DE batch is in bold color, means your MySQL, my MySQL as of now here is using DE batch. So if I create any table, it's going to be stored inside DE batch. So that's the reason I want to say, hey, whatever the database I created, I want to use that. So for that reason, I'm using a command. So use window DB. Now, if you just refresh here, you're able to see window DB is turned to be the bold color. Why? So we are currently using window DB as our database. Now, inside that, I want to create a small table. So I'm just saying, so let me just go and check whether there are, if you see inside this window DB, like there are no tables, so you may not be able to see any drop down. So if there are any tables, you're able to see a drop down option. So now to create a table, I'm using a command. So create. So you can use a command or you can just type table. So create table. I'm giving a name sales underscore data. So inside the sales underscore data, I want to give sales underscore date. So which is going to be a date field, date data type. And I want to give daily sales. So what's the column? Daily sales. And this daily sales going to be decimal. And we're going to provide 10 characters and 2 decimal points. So this is my database and I'm closing the braces and then Control Enter. So you created a table. Let me just make sure whether I got the table or not. Just for that, select star from sales underscore data. And here you are able to see there are only 2 columns. So sales date and sales daily sales. So on each date, how many sales we are able to get. So I want to insert the data. So creating a table falls under, in case if you are aware of SQL, it's going to fall under DDL, data definition language. Now, if you are trying to add some values inside it, it's going to be your data manipulation language. So in order to insert the values, we know the very simple command, insert into. I want to insert into sales underscore data and where the columns are. So sales underscore date, comma, daily underscore sales. And I want to just add values. So the values are, I just want to provide the values. So one is date 2024, for example, and 04,01. So what is the sale? So on the 1st April, the amount of sales recorded are, let's say we got 100 sales. And on your 2nd day, which is 2024, 0402, or we can say 01. So we are able to record a sales of, for example, 500. And the same thing, let me just copy and let me paste it. So let me just copy, let me paste it. So let me give some entries. So here on 2nd, for example, where there are like 300 sales. On 2nd, there are like 400 sales. On 3rd, there are like, for example, yeah, we can keep it 450 sales. On 4th, there are like 550 sales. On 5th, so there are like 600 sales. On 6th, there are 700. And on same 6th, for example, there are 700 sales. So these are some sales. So I'm just, let's say, so I'm able to insert few values here. Let me just check whether I'm able to insert the values or not. So select star from sales underscore data. And yeah, here we go. So you're able to get the data 2024 for, so this is my sales on day 100, means like 100 sales, 500. In this way, I just recorded some data. Now let us start using aggregate command. So for example, if I'm start using the aggregate command, how this aggregate command going to look like? So now, while I'm using an aggregate command, simply I'm just selecting. So select. So now I'm just selecting. For example, I want to calculate sum of sales. So in order to calculate sum of sales, I'm just saying sum of, so daily sales. So this is my, means like overall sales happening. So I'm giving a particular column name, so where I'm calling it as total sales. So from sales underscore data. So now let me enter. So if you overall see, like overall sales happened. So now I provided, so the number of rows here, if you see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So overall I provided 8 rows. So while I provided 8 rows, it is able to provide me only one output. So which is stating that there are 4,300 sales happened. So they are able to indicate there are like 4,300 sales happens. While I'm providing n number of rows, it is providing only one output. Now what I'm trying to do, I want to apply, for example, group by. So what exactly group by command going to do? So now here, if you look into it, again, instead of sum, let me just copy this command and let me paste it. Here I'm just going with count of daily sales. And if I enter, so it is giving me 9 recorded values. Overall, there are how many sales data points? There are 9 recorded values. Let me just cross check. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 6, 7, 8, 9. So overall 9 recorded values we got it. So overall there are 9 sales data points. Now I want to just check how many date related count we have it. So instead of daily sales, I'm just taking the count and I'm placing it here, count daily sales. So instead of daily sales, I'm just saying sales underscore date. And again, overall, there are 9 recorded values. Now, whenever you are passing 9 recorded values, you are able to get only one output. So only one row you are getting it. Now, what I'm doing is, so the same data or the same code, let us use another command which we are aware of, group by. So whenever people are using window functions, why can't I use a group by command? Let's try to test even a group by. So now date, here I'm just trying to give which is sales underscore date. I want to group by the data based on the date. So I want to print date and daily sales as total sales. So from sales data, so here you need to write group by. So just I'm writing group by. So group by of your sales underscore date. That's it. So I want to group by based on date. Now you are able to see on your day 1, the amount of sales we got are 600. On day 2, 700 sales. On day 3, 450 sales. On day 4, 550 sales. On day 5, 600 sales. On day 6, 1400 sales. So overall, if you look 1, 2, 3, 4, so 5 and 6 recorded. While you provided 9 recorded values, by doing group by, you are able to get 6 recorded values. So how exactly? So we are trying to group the data based on a specific date. On day 1, overall sales, how much happened? On day 2, overall, how much sales happened? On day 3, how much sales happened? So we are grouping by and we are doing it. Now this is group by. But what is a window function? So in order to use a window function, so we are using another one. As I said, we are calling it as over. So now the same code, let me copy this and let me paste it here. So now I'm just saying, or I just want to say this is group by based on sales date, and I want to use another order by. So there is order by and there is over. What is this order by and over? So order by is it going to means like arrange the data in a particular sequence, or it going to sort the data in a sequence. So now group by sales data and order by, I'm giving it as sales date. So sales underscore date. So this is sales date and this is group by based on sales date. We are trying to group by based on sales date and we are order by based on sales date. Let me just execute it. Now you are getting the same. There is no difference. So like you got 1st April, 2nd April, 3rd April, 4th April, 5th and 6th. Now if I say I want to do it as descending, now you are able to see first, that means like the fresh date, which is 6th, then 5th, then 4th, then your 3rd, 2nd and 1. Now if I convert the same thing into your, what is that? If you are able to convert the same thing into your order by, or we can say window function. So in order to convert into window function, yes, I want sales. So I want daily sales. So as a total sales, or then saying a total sales, I'm calling it as running sales. So what is meant by running sales? So in order to understand running sales, I just want to print and I want to, let's try to select star from sales underscore data. So this is sales underscore data. Now this is my overall sales. If you So if you are able to look into this, so we got sales date, we got daily sales. Here I want to create running sales. So what exactly running sales is? So which is a window function. So running sales is on day 1, we got 100 sales. So initial day 1, 100 sales. And the second person bought 500. So 100 plus 500, it's going to be 600 sales. So now on the very first row, we got only one data point. The very first customer came on 1st of April, he made 100 sales. On the same 1st April, after some time, he is able to come, he made 600 sales. On the 2nd April, he made 300. So 100 plus 500, 600 plus 300, 900. So this is how we try to calculate billing, right? So based on every item, we try to add it. And again, on the same second day, another customer came. So 900 plus 400, which is 1300. And again, in this way, what we do, we add all this. The last data point going to be the overall sales. This is called as running total, or we can say running sum of sales. So in order to do this, if you look into it, we want to calculate sum for every row. On the first one, we got only one row. We are calculating sum. And on the second, we are adding this one and this one. So 2 rows are getting added and we are able to get 600. Again, we are adding third row plus about 2 rows. In this way, we want to add every row. Means as you are passing n number of rows, you are getting n number of rows as an output. If you take group by, you are passing 9 rows, you are getting only 6 rows. Now here, while we are passing 9 rows, you need to get 9 rows as an output. So how we can translate this into a particular means like a window function. So let's try to do it here. So in order to do, I'm just pasting it. So I want for example, I want select, yes. I want sales data, right? I want sum of sales, and I'm calling this sum of sales. Let me remove this part. This part we're going to change. So we are calling this as running sales. So like select sales, sum of sales. So as your running sales. So this is the name we are giving it as, or we can say running sales, or we can say running total, any name. So running total. Here I need to customize it. So what I'm storing inside your running total, I need to customize this particular function. So sum of sales. So how you need to do, you are using a clause, or we can say over. You want to apply this on every row and you want to order by. So you want to order by based on sales data. Why you want to order by? So you want to add for every date. So one date over the another date. So I'm writing it as sales underscore date. So I'm just closing the braces as running total. Perfect. And from which data? So from sales underscore data. So I'm trying to perform it. And then once you got the output, again, I want to order by sales underscore date. And let me execute. Now see this. If you look into it, on day 1, it is 600 sales. On day 2, means like on day 1, what exactly happened? So like both day 1 and day 2 sales, it is able to give us as 2 recorded data points. On day 1, it is trying to sum all the data. Why? Your order by sales over, you are applying it on a date. So now if there are 2 similar dates, so what is happening? Both the similar dates going to be applied. That's the reason you are able to see 2 outputs, 600 and 600. And if you are able to look into this second day, we are able to get 1300, 1300. And on the third day, we are able to see the sales as 750. And fourth day, 2300. Fifth day, 2900. And the sixth day, 4300. So in this way, what we are doing for every day, we are trying to add the values and we are able to make it. Normally, in case of the running total happening, with respect to specific date and time, then it's going to be even more accurate. Now, what exactly for all the n number of rows, we are able to get n number of rows as the output. Now, the same code, what I'm doing, I'm just trying to change it. So now here, I'm calling it as sales data 1. So create a table sales data 1. I'm just renaming it. And here I'm calling it as sales data 1. So there are no values. I'm inserting the values into sales data 1. So here it is 2, and this going to be 3, and this going to be 4, and this going to be 5, 6, 7, 8, and this going to be 9, for example. So let me run it, and this going to be for sales data 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 1. Now, instead of going with select sales date, sum of sales, So as total sales from sales data 1, group by sales date, order by sales date. And let me run it. So this is your group by command which we are doing. And this is going to be select sales date, sum of sales, over by sales date as running total from sales data 1, order by sales date. Now if you look into it, the very first row it is 100. Second day we got 600 sales. Third day we got 900. So fourth day 1300. Fifth day 1750. Sixth day 2300. So seventh day 2900. Eighth day 3600. And ninth day 4300. So in this way, like every date value is trying to add. So we are calling it as what? Running total. Or we can say running sum of sales. So now this is also something people ask it. Now if you are able to understand how each function is working, so try to take a simple code, the baseline, select everything. So try to build it from there. So like try to add one aggregate function and try to translate this aggregate function into a window function, how exactly it is working. In this way, if you are able to test with different window functions, so here we saw all these different window functions. Now what I will be doing is on each class, I will be demonstrating. I'm planning to take this tutorial, maybe let's see. So like on each class, I want to go with each window function and I want to demonstrate 1 or 2 interview questions related to that. So today I showcased the window function of sum. So with over, so we are calling it as running sum of sales, which people use it mostly in the interviews. Next one, let me take some window functions or some interview questions based on that. Let me explain each window function. So it's going to be a practice for your interviews as well as you'll be learning window functions. So see you in our next lecture on window functions. So in case if you are new to this channel, please subscribe so that you may not miss any of the content on SQL or data analysis or Gen AI. Thank you so much. See you on the next.